So I guess the atmosphere is getting a bit thicker because there's the pitching competition final is about to start. But before we do that, I would like to a little bit introduce the people who have helped to organize the pitching competition and also the organizations behind the whole event. So my name is Otto Lavinen. I'm the main organizer of the Health Design and also for the pitching competition. And it's been very wonderful to spend the time with you through these 2 days, and I'm very excited to see what happens in the competition. First, I would like to ask maybe Christian Lapdot, can you maybe tell a few words about the Health Incubator Helsinki, which is a very important organization in the startup space in Finland?
Yes, so my name is Christian Adu, and I'm heading the Health Incubator Helsinki. And first, I would like to thank Otto for the 5th year putting together this program. He's a wonder man doing all this by himself. It's really very good, and let's give him some applause. And so a couple of words of Health Incubator Helsinki. So we have been operating the incubator since 2020. So far we have had 50 companies in the program, 30 alumni and 20 companies now active. The companies can be in the program for 3 years. And then you could ask, so what's the benefit of a startup to be in an incubator? The key benefits are our network that we can provide investors, consultants, industry experts, and then network also outside of Finland. And the other one is in incubators, as you know, usually you have this peer-to-peer support. And then one thing that our companies have said that is really beneficial for them is this public, that we write stuff in LinkedIn on our webpage and so forth. So it's part of a bigger umbrella which helps these startups. And so far, 40 million euros these companies have received in funding since 2021, which is really, really nice. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Christian. And can I round of applause to Christian once more? And can I have Alexandra from Terco?
Hi everyone, I'm Alexandra and I represent Terco Health Hub. We are a hub for health and life science entrepreneurship located in Meilahti campus, and we are funded by the University of Helsinki and Helsinki University Hospital. We've been around from 2017 and we currently have 72 companies under our roof. Many of them were pitching yesterday or pitching today. And super happy if you want to talk to me during the networking break and see what we could do for you. We suggest tailored approach to all the companies. We have partners that provide free or discounted services to you. We have investor connections. We are very well connected in the ecosystem, and we are quite cheap. We welcome R2B projects as well if you want to become a part of the community. And you can also use our offices and co-working area 24/7. So you can talk to me.
Thank you. Round of applause. And next one is Mika Miettinen from Fiban, who is one of the main organizers also of the pitching.
Super. Thank you very much, Otto, and happy to be here. And thanks for organizing the event. It's super, super nice to have these kinds of vertical specific events, which is one of our key activities at Fiban as well. Fiban is one of the biggest angel organizations in the world. We have more than 600 angel investors and about 24 or maybe 15 or something VC partners and CVC partners as well, together with whom we invest more than 20 million euros every year into early stage startups. So super happy to see also these great companies and yesterday's great companies here. I'm quite proud actually of the achievements of the companies here so far, and I hope I can facilitate the opportunity for those companies to find relevant investors today and in the future as well. So if you're an investor and you need good deal flow, I'm the person to talk to. And if you're a startup who needs good investors, I'm the person to talk to. And I'll try and do everything I can to facilitate opportunities for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mika. Pratek, would you like to say a few words?
Thanks, Otto. Hi, guys. Today, you will see most of the investors are either really big angels like Kusta or really good VCs. But I still see, as a founder myself, there's a big difference between investors' expectations and what the founders should really have prepared. So I started investing since last year through a few funds, Lifespan and Focal in US and UK. And this summer I joined Hustle Fund, who were the first investors in Webflow and Figma. And from there, I'm trying to deploy a little bit of my own savings and then also getting startups ready for these really good investments. Thank you, Otto.
Thank you, Prateek. And then Kustaa Piha.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Kustaa Piha, and I'm here as a business angel. And it's super cool to be here. And a few words about myself, what I do look for. I have a medical background and a serial entrepreneurial background in healthcare services, building companies from 0 to 100 million euros in turnover. So I try to find companies which I can help. So I cannot take all the problems away from the entrepreneurs, but as an entrepreneur myself, I know some ideas how to solve them.
Thank you, Kustaa. So next up is the Investor Life Science, Marko Kuisma.
All right, thank you. I'm so glad to see so many of you here. It's an important and impactful topic. I'm Marko Kuisma. I'm a partner at Innovestors Life Science Fund. We're a venture capital fund based here in Helsinki. We invest in early stage drug development and digital health, and we're very keen on life-saving science. So we love science-backed companies with evidence, with a solid evidence base. And as an early stage investor, we invest in companies from anywhere from company creation up to about Series A, with tickets ranging from 250K up to about 4 million as our entry ticket. So very excited to be here and looking forward to the company pitches. Thank you.
Thank you. And next one, Matti from Nordic Science Investments.
Thank you. Great to see everyone. Hi, my name is Matti Hautsalo. I'm from NSI, Nordic Science Investments. We're one of the newest funds in Nordics, and we collaborate closely with the tech transfer offices of the universities. We are ecosystem specialists working heavily on life sciences, but we also invest in physical sciences. Our team, we have a researcher, tech transfer, VC, and investment banker. So we hope to cover the ground very well. And the most important thing about us is that we want to get more science-based companies up and running. We are willing to go there very, very early. The earlier the better is almost better for us, because we think that too many companies actually die before they're born, when they get in Finland out of the R2B pipeline and no one is there to catch them up. So talk to us also if you don't feel you're quite investable yet. We might still think that there's a runway to be built for you. Thanks.
Thank you. And next our international VC, so Yun from Hadean Ventures, please.
Hi, nice to meet you all. I'm Yun, analyst at Hadean Ventures. So we're a venture capital firm based in Oslo, Norway, with a second office in Stockholm, Sweden. But really we have a geographic focus in the Nordics, including Finland, because we think it tends to be underventured. So really good to be here. We have around 250 million euro under management. The second fund is roughly 150 million euro. Halfway through, still in a very active investment mode. So yeah, let's connect and explore synergy. Thank you.
Thank you, Yun. And next is Fiorella from Nina Capital.
Hi, nice to meet you all. I'm Fiorella from Nina Capital. I come as an analyst. We are a venture capital firm specialized in healthcare. Sweet spot actually between healthcare and technology. So anything that includes computational data, we love to look at. We come at the pre-seed and seed stage, and we have international sort of ambitions. So founders that have a local focus, but also willing to expand. That's also a great thing that we look at. And entry ticket between 150 to 1.5 million. So we're also quite early and super excited to be here.
Thank you. So now let's begin. So our first pitch today, as you see on the presentation there, is Smart PD solution. So please, the floor is yours. And so we have 5 minutes for the pitch, and then there's 2 minutes for questions, and then we change the pitch.
So, 1 out of 10 is the number of people suffering from some kind of a loss of kidney function. It is called chronic kidney disease, CKD. In the final stages of CKD, you end up in a dialysis treatment just to stay alive. This CKD is uncurable, so we can only slow it down, but we cannot cure it unless we get a kidney transplant. Problems. Yes. So one of the most natural treatments, dialysis treatments, is peritoneal dialysis. It is the most natural one, and this treatment is usually done by the patients, by themselves at home during the nights. But there also lies the challenge. You are home alone with a treatment that is very demanding. So our solution, patented solution, is our monitoring device. It can be connected to any dialysis setup at home, and it takes life-threatening infections, and also by using biosensors, it's able to collect data from the treatment. So we are able to optimize the treatment to be personalized and be the best for that exact patient. We see that this is also the platform for future dialysis management. So we are collecting data that has not been collected earlier. And this data can be used really to bring the dialysis to today. Is this a business? Well, yes. In US, where we are aiming, it's a 2.3 billion business, and we aim to be 140 million revenue company by the end of 2031. And we are already walking this path. So we have gathered almost 700,000 already, and we are now looking 2 million round to get us to the next 2 years to develop our device and our company. So what does the 140 million look like? It does not mean that we have to get everybody to use our solution. It means that only less than 6% will use our solution. Little bit over 20,000 users in US. And it means in practice, 1 service provider for PD treatments in US. Our business model is to build the cassettes. The cassettes are disposables. So every time during the night when the measurements is taken, new cassette is needed. Our competitors, we identify them, but we are the most lab-like solution at home. And it is proven and accepted technology that we will use. Our team has the knowledge, expertise, and connections to make this happen. Management team is backed up by research PhDs, and our advisory board has people behind Synlab, Baxter, and HUS. So, what we are doing is improve lives and reduce healthcare costs, making dialysis safe and accessible for all. So, join us. Come to talk to us. We will give you the numbers, the science, and show you that this is really the case to be involved. I'm Juha Remal from Smart PD Solution.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Can you tell me a little bit more about the competition and competitive situation right now?
So basically, at the moment, we identified 2 competitors that are coming to the markets. They are applying for the FDAs, and they are using new technology, for example, ultrasound, to detect the white blood cells. But we are using optics, proven technology by camera and calculating those white blood cells. And we use the golden standard compared to our competitors. So we also look the cloudiness of the liquid, count the white blood cells, and also ask symptoms from the patient.
Do you have estimates on the revenues from these competitors and what has been the adoption rate of their platform?
They are so in early stages that we do not have access to that data yet.
You build the cassettes, the disposable cassettes.
Yes.
What happens to the data?
The data is transferred to cloud, and there we store it, and then we can use it.
So it's yours.
Yeah, it's our, yes.
You plan to monetize on that data as well?
Yes, I believe the data will be the really big thing, because we are collecting data from treatment that has not been done earlier to optimize it, make it better. So also the equipment manufacturers are interested about the data, how to make the dialysis treatment better for the patient.
And so you mentioned that the data previously wasn't being collected. So now, what is the use of that, and how are you going to make sure that the healthcare staff are able to use it?
At the moment, healthcare is collecting the data once or twice per year from patient. Patient has to go to the clinic, give the samples, and they do the lab tests. But now we can collect the same data from every treatment cycle. So data points for IA are much more, and also we are using the same methodology that they use in clinics. So we do not introduce anything new for them clinics. So yes, we believe that they will accept this quite easily.
Okay, that's it. Perfect timing. Round of applause. So the next is Surgerix, and Patrick here will raise the hand when there is 1 minute left. He's there on the left. So
Okay. I'm Paavo Vartiainen from University of Eastern Finland, and I'm here to tell you about Surgerix. Surgerix is software for safer and faster microsurgical operations. In these operations, surgeons look at the tissue through microscope and endoscopic cameras, typically 2 cameras in one operation, and they need to follow the video streams on screens or oculars. This leads to ergonomical problem because they need to switch their attention between the different video streams. Further problems are narrow and deep surgical openings, where instruments block part of the surgeon's field of view, which leads to workflow interruptions. We have developed a patent-pending software which combines these 2 or more video streams into one unified video stream. And our solution makes instruments transparent and can also augment highly zoomed microscope view with a wider view. The market we are entering is estimated a $10 billion market by the time we enter market. And in practice, there is about 24 million single surgical operations where our solution may be relevantly used. About the competitors, the microscope and endoscope are the conventional solution. Integrated endoscope refers to state-of-the-art product by size, but even that doesn't have math-based image processing as our solution has. It's basically picture-in-picture solution. And double ocular microscope is a hardware solution for 2 video streams.
In our business model, we aim to sell software license so that the cost for the customer is about €100 of their working day. And if our solution can save, for example, 10 minutes out of 1.5 hour surgical operation, the saving is easily $1,000 a day. In our preclinical study, we have demonstrated our solution to 16 surgeons of 4 nationalities and collected feedback systematically, and also personally in Finnish Neurosurgical Society days. So benefits are less risk of surgical errors thanks to better visibility and shortened operation time, which leads also to faster recovery of the surgical wounds and improved cognitive ergonomics for surgeons. Our roadmap includes establishing a company next year and entering clinical markets in Europe, US, and Japan. Our team features neurosurgeon Ahmed from Egypt, who is working as clinical instructor at Kuopio University Hospital, and our research to business process is guided by 2 professors with previous experience and led by Mikko with software business experience. Our advisors include chief neurosurgeon from University Hospital, clinical neurosurgeon and ENT surgeon, and Tamar and Visa as medtech professionals, and we are using consultants to tackle the regulations. Right now we are looking for investors to join our pre-seed round, which is 1.5 million round for our 1.5 year, within which we will set up our quality management system, most importantly. So please contact us to join our journey. Thanks for your attention.
Hi, thanks very much. When you go and get the clinics to adopt your system, you mentioned that you have the surgical training centers. Is that something only for the beginning, or how do you see in the future, how will they adopt your technology, which obviously needs to be extremely well proven?
Yeah, training centers are good and important customer group in the beginning, because there are about 1,500 of them globally, and they are of course good in that sense that surgeons learn to use our solution there. But maybe for the software license model, training centers are not that good customers. They may maybe want to buy it as one lump sum.
Thank you. I was wondering, in terms of the clinical evidence that you need to generate, can you talk a bit more about your plan on that and the parameters around safety, around ergonomics, reduced time? What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, of course, we need to prove the 2 main benefits, the reduced time and reduced risk of errors. And the reduced risk of errors, we are building simulation setups so that how wide field of view a user can perceive during the operation. And for the time saving, of course, comparative simulations are needed.
So who are you selling to? Are you selling directly to the hospitals, or are you selling to manufacturers that have robotic or surgical equipment?
Our plan is to sell to healthcare operators. Of course, it differs from country to country who pays the bill, but the surgeon's opinion is, at least in Finland and Europe, surgeon's opinion weighs a lot when they decide which hardware and software is bought to operating rooms.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pavel. Video fusion has been quite established for augmented reality trading purposes, for example, in aviation industry. So how defensible is your solution?
Yes. In medical domain, we have not noticed that this kind of fusing of various video stream has been done, but it's true that it's done in has been done in a few other areas.
Thank you. And once again, round of applause to SearchRig. Yeah. The next, Sebastian from Polku Therapeutics.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sebastian Soidinsalo. I'm from Polku Therapeutics, the operational director there, and we're developing new therapies for Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease in order to stop or reverse the progression of the pathology. The brain, it's an amazing organ. Within it is the ability to solve complex problems like math, to be able to feel emotions like love, or basically the ability to move around. So in this 1 kilogram of fat and protein really lies the essence of what it is to be a human being. But it's also very fragile. So when things go wrong, when we lose our neurons, we're also losing a part of ourselves. Imagine waking up and you're grabbing your morning coffee and you spill it. That's basically what happens in Parkinson's disease. Your hand is moving too much or isn't moving at all. Or when you go to your coffee shop and you can't find your place home, that's basically what happens when you have dementia and you lose your spatial memory. So in neurodegeneration, that's the overarching word describing these pathologies, we have some loss of neurons in the brain. And one of the underlying phenomena is protein aggregation. So we have these pathological proteins, alpha-synuclein and tau, that form protein aggregates that are toxic to the neurons. And the problem in current therapies is that they're not really addressing the underlying cause of the pathology, but rather they are symptomatic. So there are no available therapies that slow or stop the progression in these diseases. The market, there are around 2.5 million patients in Europe and US. For Parkinson's disease and for Alzheimer's, there's around 15 million patients. And I think it's important to draw some parallel to other markets. So if we think about multiple sclerosis, it's about the same size as Parkinson's disease, but the leading therapy on that market, Ocrevus, is selling at 6 billion a year. So if we would have a disease-modifying therapy in Parkinson's disease, the market would not be 8 billion, it would be twice that much, because even a single asset can reap revenues about the size of the current Parkinson's market. And I talked about protein aggregation. There are two mechanisms by which the body can alleviate this. So there's autophagy, where the cell can process these aggregates and basically take these clumps and break them apart and metabolize them. And then there's also phosphorylation, which increases the potential of these proteins to aggregate. So by removing phosphorylation, we actually remove the potential to form new aggregates. So what we're trying to develop is a therapy that would increase the cell's ability to process these aggregates and also decrease the ability of these proteins to aggregate to begin with. So we would inhibit new aggregates from forming, but also reduce already formed aggregates. And that could lead to reversing potentially the symptoms. Behind our program is a discovery that an enzyme called PrEP has another binding site. So the enzyme is not only an enzyme, but it regulates other things in the body. And by modulating these interactions, we can influence these processes. So by modulating the interaction with PP2A, we increase the autophagy in the cells. And also by modulating the interaction with alpha-synuclein, which is one of the important pathological aggregates, we reduce their dimerization, which is the aggregation potential. In a Parkinson's animal model, we introduced a lesion to the other side of the brain, where the mice would only be able to use, or they would prefer to use only one of the hands. And when we use our therapy on these mice, they actually use both of their hands. So they don't have a preference on using either hand. So that is kind of a proxy for alleviating the pathology in the hemisphere where we introduce the lesion. I promised to talk about the Alzheimer's model. So this is testing the spatial memory of mice. So in wild-type mice, they would like to go outside of open areas.
You have 30 seconds.
30 seconds. So open areas because they're afraid of predators. So they would go to their hiding place. In this disc, one of the holes is a hiding place. But if they have this Alzheimer-like pathology in the brain, they look around and don't find the hiding place. So it's the same as not finding home from the coffee shop. And when we treat these mice, they again have normal spatial memory, and they learn to find their hiding place. So we have a team with a professor of pharmacology from University of Helsinki, and Simon Bennett is our CEO, and we are on our way to raise a 5 million seed round. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Sebastian. Good pitch. But we have seen really fantastic results in animal models. How do you foresee translation to human studies, and which has been a very big pitfall in most of these CNS therapies?
Yeah, I mean, obviously cannot promise success in human trials, but the thing is that there are good hypotheses that need to be tested in people. So ultimately, yes, there are drawbacks within the mouse models, but it's widely recognized that these protein aggregates play an important role also in people, the tau and in Alzheimer's and alpha-synuclein in Parkinson's. So the hypothesis has not properly been tested. If you reduce these aggregates in the human brain, what happens in patients? One big problem there is that the patients are diagnosed quite late in the pathology. So most of the damage has already been occurred when we test the clinical trials. So maybe other ways to run the clinical trials earlier in the disease process are needed.
Do you have any safety issues arise from these animal tests, and do you give it as an injection or oral?
So our aim is to develop a orally bioavailable compound. That is the target product profile. But currently, our tool compounds have been IP administered, so not orally administered. And yeah, toxicity, we have not found toxicity in our current animal models, but we haven't really tested for it either. But that is something that we can also optimize once we know the mechanisms, if any toxicity arises.
Yeah.
How much is left on your preclinical path, and where does the 5 million take you?
30 seconds.
How far does 5 million take us? It should take us on the verge of starting IND-enabling studies. So we hope to at least have covered the lead optimization stage by that.
Thank you, Polku Therapeutics.
All right, the rest of the presentations are about ears because it turns out they're really important. So, I'm Wycliffe from Otos, and we're working on integrating hearing care into primary care for early detection and early action for hearing loss. As we discussed yesterday, a quarter of the global population having hearing loss by 2050, up from 1 in 5 people right now. 80% going undiagnosed, and it's costing us $1 trillion globally. We heard how important the brain is. Turns out hearing is really important for cognitive health as well. So Susie here has had hearing loss for a while. 9 years later than she needs to go. On average is when the patient goes to get their hearing check. Goes multiple visits to the doctor. They have difficulty interpreting the results that come in when they come for their analysis. And 7 to 10 months down the line, she finally gets into specialized care. They have trouble making sense of all the information, have to rerun a lot of these tests. And the motivation of the patient is not known necessarily towards the end of this. So all this could have been for nothing if they don't want to do anything about it. So we're really simplifying this pathway. Speaking to customers in the US, they want faster, more accurate turnarounds on the results. So we created a system that diagnoses twice as fast and is more comfortable for the patient and also for the clinician. They want to spend less time and effort doing the analysis. So we generated a system that delivers gold standard level results by a layman, and the doctor could process these in minutes instead of hours. And of course, it has to be cheap. All of the before mentioned makes it cheaper, but it's also always better to integrate into the healthcare systems so we have a seamless treatment path and actionable results. All of this taking us 75% less time. So minutes versus hours, it means we can have more patients come in, approximately 5x more patients. When you look at primary care, we're trying to incentivize primary care to do these tests. So one of our systems fully kitted could be generating 25K after all expenses for primary care. They have the incentive to do the tests. People are coming in early. Specialized care is having a much lower customer acquisition cost, 10% of what it used to be. So we're kind of playing these dual networks over here. Costs go down, sales up, better quality outcomes for the patients as well. Sorry. All right. Yes, so we have a great team to make this happen. Tanya over here is our globetrotter and has been managing international stakeholders, and she's going to be leading our operations. Saku and Ville have a lot of experience in the industry, and they have been working, coming onto their second decade in hearing healthcare. Myself, I'll be taking the CEO role, and my background is in medical devices. I've been working on medical devices in Philips and Covercare for multiple years. Also startup experience with Hyperion, where we've raised money and have been growing the company quite well. And I am particularly proud of the gentleman we have from the US on our advisory board, because that is our go-to market, and we're talking to them to really understand what is needed over there to make this a reality. We're going to be making money mostly based on our software, the subscriptions. Device sales are going to be incentivized by the consumables. So distributors are not just selling a device, they're selling a device that's going to be generating more revenue for them. So really trying to incentivize our distributors to get on board with this. And launching is going to be the first part where we start becoming profitable after all our pilots. And we're going to be scaling globally after the US and releasing our next generation product that's supposed to be even more profitable, getting into cognitive health. So we want to pilot as much as we can here in Finland. We want to go to the US. That's going to be our 510K approval to the US, launch over there, and then circle back to Europe after that. There is a lot of competition.
1 minute.
Apple being the big bad wolf on the block, entering this space. But what we really aim to do, we aim to be the primary solution when it comes to hearing diagnostics in primary care. That's where we catch hearing loss for the first time, direct patients to either the specialized or over-the-counter side for hearing care. We've got $700,000 in funding running out the end of this year, so we're spinning out of the university. We talk to patients, have an investigational device based on our quality management system. We're running clinical trials, planning our second ones. We have the patent and FINMA approval to do the clinical test that we've been doing so far. And to go to market in the US, we need $1 million to grow the team and start turning our product into a reality, and also working on the next generation platform for Otos. Thank you very much. I'll be happy to have your questions.
Thanks.
Yeah, Apple made a pretty surprising jump into this. And I think for them, where they have been pushing the Apple smart wearables, for example, the watches, also in clinical trials, how do you see competing against such a behemoth?
So I don't see we're competing against Apple. So what Apple has actually done, they're bringing more awareness. So what they're doing in their OTC hearing aids, over the counter, is that what the OTC stands for. Plus, there's been a lot of other players in this space. That's going to get you from mild to moderate hearing loss. Once you start getting into the more profound side, or you need more processing capability, you're going to have to go for this prescription hearing aids. And also, that's just going to raise awareness and bring people to the clinic earlier. What we really want to do is to integrate the hearing care into primary care. So hearing, the hearing health is something that your doctor should know about, and not only Apple.
What's your plan to achieve the FDA 510K approval? And second question, why do you select the US as the first market to go?
So the plan for the 510K approval, our clinical study, we've been comparing to the gold standard. So that's going to be enabling us, giving some leverage to have a predicate device based on what we've been comparing to. And what part of our hardware is class 1, so that's going to make it slightly easier to get in there. The partner we're working on with audiometry, they just actually got their FDA clearance recently. So that's going to make it a bit easier for us to get into the market.
You bringing this to primary care, I think there's going to be a learning curve in terms of you placing this to a GP's office. How much have you gathered sort of intel on that and sort of feedback in terms of whether they're open to that, and do you expect to face resistance from the primary physicians who would sort of need to start doing this?
Yeah. So what we want to do is we want to make it really simple. And when you look at any audiometer out there, you have options. We're removing options. We're doing the audiometry and endoscopy. It's a really straightforward thing. It should be actually not the doctor who's doing the test. The doctor is interpreting the results. They're going to be getting assistance for that in the beginning, but it should be the easiest to do hearing test that gets most clinical accurate results for further down the line for the patients. So really focus on 13 user interface clicks to get the results in front of the doctors.
Is it all in the software, or do you have an edge and IPR in the hardware?
So we have IPR on the hardware side mostly, and we're exploring if we can get some more with the system and method patents for some of these software elements that we're having.
Thank you. And thank you, Otos and Wycliffe.
Good afternoon. I'm Tuomas Krokkars and I'm from Sibbo Medical Devices. We are a company based in East Helsinki, and there's at the moment 4 persons working in the company. What we do is medical devices based on cameras and AI. We do hardware and AI. And here you can see our hardware. We have at the moment 4 devices, 1 to check the ears, 1 for nose and mouth, 1 for throat, and then also dizziness goggles. All our devices share the same principle. It's basically a camera which uses a smartphone or tablet with our user interface. We have sold devices to 8 different countries. Total sales so far is a bit more than 100K, which is pretty good considering that the otoscope has been on the market for a bit more than a year, and the 3 other devices came to the market this August. So we're doing pretty good. Compared to current devices, our devices are far smaller. They all fit to a shoebox compared to the current device, which is kind of size of a fridge. We put a lot of effort to the ease of use, to the design. These are really kind of intuitive. You don't need to have any kind of education to use these devices. The users are both doctors, specialists, and nurses. One thing is also that telemedicine is coming by storm, and we've taken it kind of from the scratch that these are telemedicine suitable, especially teleconsultations. So it's easy to send information from place 1 to place 2. When we founded the company, we knew right from the beginning that it's not going to only be hardware. We've been concentrating on AI also. We have a library of 3,000 different ear images, all classified by 7 different specialists. We have done a screening tool. Kind of an idea is that the nurse checks the ears, the AI tells if the ear is normal. If the ear is not normal, the patient is referred to a doctor. At the moment, our sensitivity for abnormal ears is 96%, which is far better than any doctor in any studies so far. We have the AI ready, and we are here trying to get money for the CE marking. So the benefits. Benefits are pretty obvious. As I said, 96% is better than any doctor. So we get better diagnostics. Better diagnostics always makes also better savings, and it saves work, time, and money from the user, the AI. Just as an example, more than 1/3 of ear examinations in US are done by nurses. So not doctors, nurses. And then the nurses consult their doctors. Could you imagine the market size for a device which should make these consultations easy? Or if the machine would have AI, so you wouldn't actually need to consult the doctor, but the machine is there 50 meters from here, so you are welcome to come and check it after the pitch. For the AI, the idea is to have the paper analysis model, which should be pretty good looking at the numbers. We are looking for 400,000 to 600,000, and mainly the reason is to get the AI, CE, and FDA regulated. Happy to get any questions.
It's a two-part question. First, are the AI results published in the peer-reviewed committee? And hardware manufacturing, especially for endoscopy, it has been becoming quite generalized today. So are you competing on price or uniqueness? What's the angle there?
Good questions about the research. About the research, we have ongoing a research project with Helsinki University Hospital. The 96% is based on our own validation set. I've got no reason to believe that it wouldn't be true, but as I said, they are actually going studies at the moment with the Helsinki University Hospital. So we kind of have also a objective validation for that. About the endoscopies, yeah, basically when we talk about cameras this size, there's kind of two proper manufacturers in the world, and we are using the other one. So cameras, everybody is using the same cameras. It's the design, it's the ease of use, the design, the functionality. Rather than concentrating on cameras, I would say that we are concentrating on the ecosystem. It's not just the ear otoscope, it's not just the endoscope. You kind of get you have multiple devices which you all use the same way, which makes it a lot easier.
One question about this AI. What's the time to market with that if you get the funding?
Jani could answer that better. I'd say 1 year.
And another question is about the pricing of the current solution you have in the shoe-sized box. How much does it cost for the clinician?
The whole shoe, I mean, the box is there. Unfortunately, I didn't take it on a stage, but all our devices go to this small box, and we sell the whole box, including the box, for 3,500 euros. The fridge size kind of a thing costs something between 20,000 and 30,000 euros. So we are a lot more affordable. At the moment, devices which we are kind of making are used only by specialists. The whole idea is to make them more affordable, easier to use, more intuitive, so that every doctor, every nurse could basically be using them.
I was wondering, you have a suite of different sort of tech devices. Is there any specific one that you see is most valuable? And a different question is, as you scale, what do you think your defensible moat will be? The second question, as you scale, what do you think your defensible moat will be?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I understood. I don't speak startup. I'm a clinician. The first one, which is most valuable? I personally love hardware. That's because I use hardware in my everyday life. But to be honest, the kind of a biggest thing is going to be the AI. We have already the AI for the ear diagnostics. The dizziness diagnostics is on the pipeline. So basically, we can kind of do it again and again. Yeah, I didn't get the second question. That's my mistake. So sorry about that. Competition. Yeah, competition is. I mean, there's a lot of competition. It depends a bit what you look at. There's no such company who does the same panel as we do. Hardware, AI, ear, nose, and throat diagnostics. So no direct competition, but a lot of competition otherwise. Yeah.
Okay, that's it for the time. Thank you so much, Thomas, and thanks, Sibo. And that's it for the pitching competition.
So first, let me introduce to represent the Angel Syndicate, to tell who is the winner for the Angel Syndicate. So Gustav, please come to the stage. Can you please tell a little bit about the decision and why did you like it and what is your ideas to go forward?
Yes, okay, so it was very tough decision. We had very good discussions with other investors, and I must say also that I'm very happy to see that the quality of all these companies today, for example, it was very good, and it was very difficult to make a choice. But nevertheless, we needed to have only one winner for the Angel Syndicate, for which company there's a syndicate of 4 angels that are willing to continue with the discussions. And the company had an innovation that really has a clinical need. Time to market is short enough because some of us angel investors, we are not that risk appetite is not that high, and the competitive situation is very attractive. So it's good for angel investors, and I'm very happy to announce that KiwiCare is the company who is a winner for this angel syndicate.
Please come on stage. Jan, let's take some picture from the center maybe. But the story is not over yet because we still have the VC winners as well. So let's have Jun from Hadean Ventures to tell a little bit more about that.
So yeah, first of all, I want to thank all companies participating in the pitching event. You did a good job, and we're excited by several cases. And it's again a tough decisions. We discussed, back to front, and we made a decision to have 2 winners for the VCs. So one is filling the gap in diagnostics and cracking the code on a problem that we will most likely face to it the later stage of our life. So the company is Otos. Congratulations. And we have a second winner, which is really challenging a paradigm that has been very difficult to treat. And recently we have only a new drug approved in the space, and that's really changing the paradigm. And it's really good to see more companies like this coming up. So the second winner is Polku Therapeutics. Congratulations.
So please join the stage, and also the VCs who are still here, can you still come to the picture as well?
Yeah.
And once more, huge round of applause for